Hey y'all, and welcome to Bearded in Style, where we talk about all things fashion, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. As you saw in the intro, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell button. I am so happy to pretty much get ready to talk about something that I said I wanted to talk about in my very first video. I really want to make, you know, videos that kind of, yes, talk about fashion, but I also want to put some content out there for those individuals who are pursuing the merchandising degree and those that have already left school, have already completed. I completed my fashion retailing merchandising degree with a minor in business from Lamar University, go LU. I will always mention it any chance that I get. There are a lot of, great colleges and universities where you can, get your degree. But today I really kind of want to talk about where I went to, kind of the path that I really kind of went down, and just offer any insight to whichever person is looking for. I remember being a little bit younger, looking for some of the videos on YouTube, and I really couldn't find much, honestly. You can, really search the internet about anything, business degrees, nursing degrees, any type of degrees, but there's not that much out there for content for, those students or even those, postgraduates for the fashion retailing and merchandising degree. So I just want to give a little bit of my experience. I will start pretty much at Macy's. So we're looking at roughly like 2010, around that time. I started as a sales associate, one of the seasonal actually, because I started in December of 2010. Just a seasonal sales associate, was just going about my day, just kind of, recovering your day-to-day, cashiering duties. Really didn't get into my full capacity of selling until maybe like after the season, because when you come in as seasonal, of course, you always just recover a store, that's it. And from there, I realized, actually I can fold some clothes pretty good, which is great. But then onward, pretty much, I started to really get into selling, pushing for loyalty. All my people that come from retailing, especially those companies that really push hard loyalty, then you already know how it is. You gotta push and drive loyalty, because that is what gets your customer to come back and shop at least 2 to 5 times more than your average shopper. So look at me already jumping right back into my management 101, teaching sales associates. But yes, that is what I did. And after doing that, I would say probably for a couple of years, I just really felt like, I really have something that I can offer. I felt like, I have a passion for, growing individuals, so training and development. I maybe didn't know how to do it that well so early on, but after a while I just felt like, I really love retailing. I already like clothes. I might as well, right? Go ahead and try to pursue a degree, because I went to school, kind of took a break from school because I really started off as a music major, okay? You heard it here, some people don't even know that. I have a musical background. We won't even get into that. That can be a whole separate video. But yes, I started off as a music major, and then I changed my major to general studies because I just couldn't figure out what I wanted to do, and I felt like I really did want a music degree. Nothing wrong with that. Shout out to all the music majors who were able to stay the course, because Lord knows I could not. And yeah, I decided to leave school, came back to Houston. Of course, I went to school in Beaumont, Texas. Came back to Houston, and then that's when I really kind of, really got into Macy's, and, that retailing career start from there. But yes, after time progressed, I felt like, I have more to offer. I really like training and development. I'm really good at, selling and pushing for loyalty. Great with recovering. At some point, I really started working with the Levi's merchandisers, so really recovering with Levi's. But I would say the Levi's part was towards the end of my stint of Macy's, but beforehand, I was really selling in, women's ready to wear, because I always worked in women's clothing. Women's ready to wear, working in handbags, working in women's world, so you're like your plus size, all things women. Don't ask me why I was always there, but I was always placed there, and I really enjoyed it because I enjoy, making women feel good. So that was a great thing for me. So then I decided, you know what, I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to drop everything in Houston, not necessarily because I did take some prereqs at the not the university, at Houston Community College. Finished up a good amount there to where I would be able to go back to Beaumont because I didn't want to be there for long. Went back to school, and then as I was in school, that's where things really kind of started to open up, especially changing my major. Within that very first year of going back, there was things that just kept happening back to back, right? So I decided to go ahead and, believe it was that summer. I decided to go ahead and do an internship with Burt's Outlet. It was a retailing management internship where we really learned the business, how to read numbers, how to look at your, month to date, year to date, look at the different departments, see where they're selling, compare and contrast to the district, see what the district is, see where the region is, and on top of that, really see where the company is. So being able to read all of that, but then also just getting a good understanding of what the outlet setting was. And I was fortunate to really have that internship, and I did that through that summer. Right when that was pretty much over with, I was walking right into studying abroad in London and Scotland with the school, which was really a fantastic experience. We studied fashion and decorative arts, and we went to so many fashion museums. London was more than what I expected. Wish we had a little bit more time there. That's something that I would love to do again, go back and visit there, because it was just so many nice things. I just felt like we didn't get a chance to do everything. However, we spent more time in Scotland. I think the study abroad trip was at least 10 days, and we did about 3 days in London, and then the rest of the days in Scotland. So honestly, by the time we were done with Scotland, I felt like I was pretty much citizen at that point. In Scotland, the castles were just amazing. I will try to stick some things here. I don't know how much I'm gonna put right here, but I'll try to put some things there. The exhibit, there were so many exhibits actually. The Crown Jewels is something I really want to speak about. That was really amazing. Could not film inside. Was able to take a picture outside to see all of the scepters and the crowns, which actually it said that it was, I don't want to get it wrong and say it was sponsored, but I believe De Beers is one of the jewelry companies where I guess they had a really good hand in pretty much that museum. If you know anything about De Beers, it is just elegant, fine jewelry. It is top of the line. It definitely cost a good amount, but it was an amazing experience. And just to piggyback to even London, when we went to see the Princess Diana exhibit, that was just amazing to see all her gowns there. I definitely will insert that right here as well. An amazing experience. So, it's just so many things that we saw, pretty much like just fashion through the decades. Of course, as anyone knows who is a fashion merchandising student, you're going to do fashion history. So learning fashion throughout the different times, just kind of seeing how, things are inspired from previous years and previous decades and centuries till now. It's just really amazing, honestly. And that was an amazing experience. We also had to write a paper at the end, and I think I wrote maybe a 4-page, no, actually I'm lying, I think it was an 8-page paper. Believe it or not, I hoard still all of my undergrad documents, so I probably can find the paper that I wrote. It was like 8 pages because it was just so much that we had experienced pretty much throughout that 10 days. It was really long, but every day felt, eventful, and we did so many activities. But being able to be, in London and Scotland, and then look at some of the fashions. When you go to Scotland, all the men are wearing pretty much quilts, kilts. We say it right, kilts. So, those tartan plaid type of, skirts, and wish I would have actually got one. But I did actually purchase my Burberry scarf in Scotland, and that was a great memory. I actually was able to purchase my YSL card holder in London, so I have some items that still were able to come from there, and then luckily that conversion was great, so it got me a really good deal. But yes, so from that particular study abroad, after that I decided to get a part-time job with Stage Stores as a supervisor. So yet again, I'm still going the management route. So I want to make that abundantly clear. My experience is really the management route, which other people's, could be advertising, could be merchandising, could be as a buyer, different things, product production, all those in sourcing. It's so many different avenues. I am from Texas, Houston, Texas, if you don't know already. And for me, we didn't really have any, it seems like all of the buying internships and things like that were in New York, and at the time I didn't feel like I had really the means to be able to go and get an internship out there and then figure out like how am I going to live, who's going to sponsor that and things like that. So I really just went the management route because that was pretty much my only avenue. I really wanted to go that route because I really wanted to be a buyer. I had really great interest in that, to be able to go to the fashion shows, to be able to look, be able to go to the market. Also, I wanted to just be able to, look at new and upcoming brands and then being able to try to bring them into whatever, client I would have, been working with, whether it was a big box retail or anything like that. But I really had interest in doing that, just did not get to work out that way, which I'm not upset about. It is what it is. Who knows, never know what life opportunities could still, make way for me. I could always still go a buyer's route at some point if life presents it, That's the biggest thing about the degree. Don't get pigeonholed. Even if you did go one way, it's still an opportunity to go another way if life presents it, okay? So I did that at Stage Stores. One thing I do want to mention real quick is I negotiated my pay because the initial pay that was presented to me was of lesser value than what I was making as an intern. And I said, not I was very firm in letting them know, actually the store manager know in that moment, hey, actually I want this pay because of my long years at Macy's, because I worked there before leaving 6 years. That's 6 years of selling experience. Literally, I'll sell you a trash bag and sell it as a garment and wrap it up in a bow because I'm honestly just that good. Selling comes easy, of course, for me. However, that amount of years of experience, you're bound to be good at what you do, okay? And then also, I'm an expert at loyalty and pushing loyalty, and then also pushing others, because that's just something that I did at Macy's. So I really knew my worth. I ran down what I was doing there. I ran down pretty much all of what I was doing in my internship, how I was able to catch on, what new initiative plans that I did bring into that internship. And then I course, study abroad, you just got to sprinkle that in there. And on top of that, I was already a fashion retail and merchandising student. So, pay me what I am worth. She then walked out the room when it spoke to the DM. The DM said, pay him that amount. So then I was able and fortunate to get that amount of money. And she said, you better be worth it. And I said, oh, I promise you I will be. And from that point on, I definitely was, because I actually won several times one time I won Employee of the Month, and then another I won Employee of the Quarter. I only was there for, I would say, about 9 months because I was wrapping up my degree and then getting ready to move back to Houston to complete my degree online. Because the last class or 2 that I had, I was able to take online, so of course I didn't want to spend more time on it than I had to. And then plus, something that I'm gonna steer, once that, because I graduated in August, so kind of like that early fall, during that summer, I decided, you know what? I heard everyone talking about the Nordstrom's retailing management internship. It's really prestigious, really big, really big thing. And honestly, to this day, it is the one thing that everyone asks me all the time about, is my Nordstrom's internship. Even now in my new industry, which is not retailing or fashion, they wanted to know about Nordstrom's. So that is where we are headed to now. Now at this point, I've applied to that. I was able to get that. That is a very hard internship to get. That is not something that everyone, is able to get. I was just fortunate and able to land that one. Of course, for some people, it was kind of like, why would you have a job already in management and not just transfer when you went back to Houston? Why did you go back and do an internship? Well, I did it because the name, and then also the experience that I would get. Even though Macy's does carry your, high end and kind of low end at the same time, I really wanted to do luxury retail and really kind of see what its management looked like in that aspect. That internship was very, very different. Of course, some of the same things as the previous one, because in management, you're, of course, going to look at your numbers. You're going to compare yourself to your, of course, your district, compare yourself to your region, and then what is the company doing. With that one, I did work in Indy VSC. So it's kind of contemporary women's clothing. So yet again, women's clothing. And that was a great experience, a little challenging because, yes, at the time I was partnered with a manager. Well, she was what they call a DM, which is the department manager, even though for me, a DM is a district manager. But the structure was a little bit different there. She was a department manager, and I just, of course, there would be times where I just kind of felt like, maybe you could do this, or maybe teach this a different way to me, just because I do already have the management experience. However, one of the biggest things that I can tell anyone, always be a student. Okay, if you are in a position where you are a student, and even if you're a leader, you can always still be a student. Okay, you're never too big to learn. You are never too high to learn, as in high in the totem pole. Everyone can always learn something from a specific person. In any type of mentor leadership role, you can always learn from someone. And it's up to you to say, I'm gonna take a little bit of pieces here, little pieces there, and then maybe I'll combine it all up and then make it my own thing. So there was just a few times where I just felt like, I'm not really sure. But I really did thoroughly enjoy it. I was one of the top card getters, one of the top people that were able to open up loyalty within the internship group, which for me, I really was pushing for that because that's my niche already, right? Pushing loyalty, and that comes easy to me. But I love being able to work with luxury brands, kind of seeing how they win. We got to see kind of like a private show where they hosted and, brought in their top clients to be able to, look at all these different clothings. Nordstrom's was really just like, it was really that thing. And I was like, wow, that was really nice. Everything about that internship. I would encourage anybody who is looking at this video, if you are a merchandising student, you want to go the retail management route, even if you don't want to go the retail management route, if you can, and if you have a free summer, go ahead and sign up, or not sign up actually, because everybody can't get there. Go ahead and apply to it, interview well, and go through that Nordstrom's retailing management internship. It is an amazing thing. I will insert here our little graduation thing. I greatly appreciated it. Afterwards, we were offered to, stay on and then be able to go from, of course, go back to selling. And then as routes were available, then you can take like an assistant department manager route. For me, that was not something that I wanted to do, even though I liked working there. It wasn't something that I wanted to do, which after that internship, of course, actually kind of like really towards the end, because there was still like a part there where I like graduated, but then like had a few days left, pretty much. I'm not really sure how that worked out, but yes. I then graduated from Lamar University with my degree, and from that point on, I had already kind of applied to Gap and actually landed a role as the assistant store manager with Gap, and that was an amazing thing for me at that time, because I was like, wow, it's my first role. When I got that, funny story, so really quickly, because I just must tell it, and my store manager, if he sees this video, he will probably just die laughing. I had actually applied to Gap before, I want to say, around the time that I did the internship for Burks, so maybe like a year or so before I actually got on with Gap. I had applied before, did not get it, because, actually I don't even remember why, because, and we won't even get into that anyway. I didn't get it at that particular time, but then I ended up landing the role later after graduating, and it's so funny because then I ended up actually seeing that particular store manager later on, and as I started to, of course, work and build a profile there, she was like, oh wow, I probably should have really went with him back then. And I was like, you're right, you should have. But just a little sprinkle of inspiration right there. Y'all, don't give up on something, even if you don't get it the first time. If it's something that you really want to do again, circle back around. It's nothing wrong with having to get rejected one time, get rejected 2 times, get rejected 3 times, and get it on the 4th time, okay? It does not matter. The road doesn't stop, okay? Because you will be rejected at some point in your career, okay? Whether it's a fashion route, merchandising route, retailing route, no matter what route, in life you will be rejected, but it's up to you to stay the course. And for me, because I knew I didn't necessarily want to stay with the internship, because I did not want to go back to being a sales associate, it just was not going to work for me. I then applied for that, got that role, and that was one of the biggest, roles thus far. And I had at least about a almost 4-year career with Gap in that role. I was a senior merchandiser, so all things in that store was, merchandising wise and visual wise was through me. Of course, that was, it came with bumps and things like that, because when you just start a job, especially when you just start, in your merchandising journey, you will start to realize, hey, things are really different everywhere. The merchandising that I did at Burks, completely different from what I did at Gap. The merchandising that I did with Nordstrom's, that is one of the toughest. That was completely different from what I did at Gap. Actually, let me take that back. It wasn't that tough, honestly. But at Gap was probably the toughest. But being able to filter through different leaders, that's another nugget I want to be able to give. Please, and you should already know this, when you're in retail, when you're in fashion, you have to be adaptable. Be adaptable, meaning that I will get a visual presentation guide on, let's say, 3 weeks before a floor set, and then by the time the floor set came on that Monday, we're trying to land it on Wednesday. Here goes a playbook saying, you know what, actually, rework this, okay? And then it's like, wait, huh? You have to be adaptable. You have to be able to just move with the times. But one of the biggest pieces I want to offer to those that are in management, in the retailing route, especially if you're a merchandiser and that's one of your AORs. So for those that don't know what that is, area of responsibilities, because you can be, assistant store manager, assistant manager, anything like that, but everyone is going to have an area of responsibility. And mine was always merchandising. When you're in that merchandising role, one of the biggest things you can do is plan. You have to always plan, analyze, look to see what works for your store. It took me until at least my second year when I got a new district manager around that time. I want to say it's about the second year. The district manager was, very big on what does your customer want? Because my customer in the part of Houston where I was, and it wasn't even necessarily Houston, it's Houston District. It was a different city right outside of Houston. My customer is completely different from the customer that was at the Houston Galleria. So I had to really, look at my customer. What does my customer want? She or he, they don't shop the same as that other customer. So really filtering my store, being able to analyze what's moving, look at the numbers, look to see what the knits are doing, look to see what the denim is doing. Denim was very heavy at my store, so pushing the denim to the front, but being able to speak to it, that's some advice that I definitely want to give to all my merchandisers. When you do land a merchandising role, make sure you look to see what your customer, look at their shopping habits, and then see, and all of that is in the numbers. There's nothing that you're guessing. It's all in the numbers because you can see what your customer buys at the first mark, at full price, and at the third markdown and things like that. Always know your customer. But when it comes to merchandising and landing a flow, you must always analyze, start to pre-fixture your floor, and then make sure that you map out everything. Because remember, it's not really you doing it. Me as a person, I wanted to always make sure that I was a great manager, and training and development is my biggest thing. So I'm training those merchandisers that if I'm not here, how to land everything. So being able to map things the way that they should be and land them is going to be your biggest thing, okay? That really is my experience in pretty much that field, my merchandiser field. So I really went, like I said, the management route, but my area of responsibility was a senior merchandiser. I'm going to say that I did have a supervisor under me, so I was in charge of all things adults, and then my supervisor under me was in charge of kids and baby, but then I still oversaw the whole entire store when it came to that, and also sales as well. But that was the biggest piece, and that's my personal journey. I did leave Gap because Gap did close down, my particular store closed down due to that little tiff around that COVID time with the mall property, Brooksville property. So we did shut down, unfortunately, but it landed me the opportunity to come here to Dallas, and now I'm in hospitality in the healthcare setting. Won't get into much of that for privacy issues, but I am a manager there, but I was able to really still take everything that I have because most of all, my experience is customer service, right? And I learned so much actually from Nordstrom, which is why I said earlier in the video that, people still ask about the Nordstrom's internship. because, it's an elevated luxury retailer, and people want to know. But also just my time in being able to be a manager in a customer-driven place. All those places are customer-driven because why? The customer is buying your product, and they have to have good service. That's the only way they stay with you, stay loyal to you, only way they sign up for those credit cards, and things like that. But yes, that is my journey thus far. Like I said, yes, I'm in the hospitality field right now. That is not to say that at some point I don't get an amazing opportunity to go back to fashion and retailing at some point. Because like I said, it was still in my heart to be a buyer. And I am now in Dallas, and some of the biggest, retailers, corporate offices are here. There's Louis Vuitton here, even Marcus is here, JC's Penney's is out here somewhere, I believe in Plano. So there are still places here in Dallas. And then also, there is the World Trade Center, as in like where usually, you have all these different fashion houses, and then, the buyers go there, kind of look at the different products and then see if they want to buy it and things like that, for whether it's their boutique that they're shopping for or for their client. But there's so many layers into the degree, and one of the biggest areas, where I mastered, I would say, would be the retailing management route, but something I had two interests in, if you will, was the buyer route, because I really was interested in that. And then the other part would have been actually the sourcing. So being able to source fabrics and things like that was something that I was very much interested in. You all would have taken a textiles class, I'm sure. No matter what it is, you're definitely going to take that textiles class. I believe I actually still have my textiles book. I actually have to go back home and see if it's still there as Mom, if she has it or not. But I'm pretty sure I still have that textiles book. And then just understanding different fabrics and things like that, I really had an interest in. But that is my journey. This is going to be kind of a series, I'm hoping. And the reason why I say that is because my next guest that I plan to bring on with this particular series, which is the Fashion Dizing Retail and Merchandising degree, Life After, I have another friend who actually is in Dallas. She was a classmate as well at Lamar University, who now has her master's from UNT as well in fashion, and she actually went the buyer's route. And I would love for her to come on and speak to that. So we're definitely going to do more with this. We have some other classmates that I want to bring on to talk about their specific route. Please, in the comment section, if you have any questions, if you are getting ready, I know it's December right now, so usually sometimes those summer internships, they start to post them now, and then you start to interview towards the springtime for the summer. Y'all apply to them now, get your resume ready right now, do all those things. If you have any questions about any of those companies that I worked for, you just want a little bit of insight of how you can get in, how to interview and things like that, please write me in the comment section, because I want to be able to help everyone. Put that information there. I will respond to you. I can even also make a video of, like what to wear to the interview, some of the things to say, how to carry yourself and present yourself when you do go. But one of the biggest things I'm going to tell you, get an internship. Get an internship, okay? I did 2 internships just because I wanted to make sure that I loved what I was going to be doing. Even though I went, that retailing management route, I knew I was going to end up loving it because I had a passion for it. I have a passion for training and development. I still really have a passion for merchandising. I have a passion for clothes. And I have a passion of understanding how a customer wants to buy things, okay? There was a class that we had, an analytics class for fashion, which talked about the why of the buy. That's actually a textbook. And I believe it should still be there. So yes, it's called The Why of the Buy. So understanding, is that customer shopping for functionality or for aesthetics and things like that. So that's a really good book to look at and pick up. But yes, I'm going to expand this series even more. But if you have any questions, please hit me in the comment section. I want to be able to help. And if there's anyone that sees this video that's in the Dallas area that would love to come on here and talk about their experience, I would love to meet up with you. And then let's get this knowledge out to, you know, current students and postgraduate students, so we can all talk about the fashion, retail, and merchandising degree life after. Okay, thank you all for staying the whole time. Please don't forget to click subscribe, hit the notification bell button, and oh, really quick, I guess we should really get into it. Can't be bearded in style if I don't show my OOTD. So right on, and I also include like a little video of the full, because you probably won't be able to see everything from top to bottom. I do have on a H&M overshirt that I did purchase last year, which is a plaid and has a wool like texture. It is a little chilly here in Dallas right now. I do have on the slim fit, just white t-shirt. I love this one just because, like I told you, I love structure, right? So suck me in a little bit, and then I love a good overshirt. I do have on the drawstring trouser pants. So on H&M's website, they call them the joggers. I'm not really sure why. I would love to really meet someone at H&M so I can ask them, why is it called joggers? But they are the trouser pants, and I do have on my Alexander McQueen shoes. So the pants are pretty much kind of like a taupe color. Of course, the undershirt is white, and then my overshirt really is a mixture of colors. So I love how there is a little bit of taupe in this overshirt. There's cream, you have a little bit of gray, which is where I wear my Alexander McQueens that have a gray patch at the back. But I love the color contrast, you know, it's very fall, you know, we're getting ready to lead into winter, and I don't know, we're getting to that era. Of course, I have on my Movado watch. One of the things I love to wear, I have other watches too. I have another Movado watch, but I just love wearing Movado because it just makes me feel like a boss. Remember, when you are putting on your clothes, you should feel the clothes, you should be wearing the clothes. The clothes not wearing it, okay? So it makes me feel like a boss, and I just love it. But until next time, y'all have a good one, and please remember, on this channel, we're gonna talk about all things fashion, and a little bit of this, and a little bit of that. Until next time, y'all, peace.